everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the Manosphere. Okay? But you're probably asking yourself why. Why the fuck is Julia talking about something like this? Well, as you know, I generally talk about science, philosophy, and logical perspectives on things, right? Today we're going to talk about why the manosphere is fueled by insecurity and why it is based on badly managed insecurity and why it actually makes people unhappy instead of feeling better. Even after all of the things they try, like I don't know, Clavicular. I'm gonna talk about Clavicular because this is what inspired me to talk about this. I learned about his existence a few days ago, and because I'm on holidays, and it's winter here in UI, I thought I'm gonna actually analyze this. My perspective will be made out of my psychological studies, sociology, logic in general, and also hypothesis. Let's jump right into it, because, okay, here's the thing. I thought about this so much this past few days, because these people are selling people a solution to being rejected, which obviously doesn't work. And I'm going to explain why. These people are traumatized, and because of them showing themselves being vulnerable, right? I'm using my pajamas right now. Because of them themselves being like, okay, I will try this, and they were rejected. They have a rejection trauma. They feel like they're not enough. That's why they do all of these things. That's why they try to convince others that their point of view is the best one over and over and over again on podcasts, because they're not sure of it. If not, they wouldn't be trying to make everyone say, yeah, you're right, and try to convince everyone. They want to convince everyone because they're not sure about it. And they're not sure about it because I'm going to explain why they're not sure about it. Clavicular saying that he doesn't care about a girl finishing. Okay. It is probably an overcompensation because he doesn't feel comfortable enough to actually ask the girl what she needs and actually try, because that would mean that somebody is gonna probably watch them fail. Like, if he's gonna try and he's gonna realize he's gonna feel uncomfortable because he would try and maybe it would be hard, and that will make him feel humiliated. Even if it's not humiliating at all, like, nobody's born knowing how the other person works in that way, and everyone works differently. So it is not humiliating. But these guys in the manosphere think that literally anything that they do, that it is not them knowing more, they knowing everything, etc., is a personal failure, and they feel ashamed. Is it something they should be ashamed of? No. But is it something they still feel ashamed because of? Yes. So there are two different aspects. One is reality, and the other one is how they feel. Okay? So how they feel is insecurity. They feel like they cannot trust anyone to be vulnerable with them. Like, that's why they don't like a woman being educated, because they would never feel comfortable with that, because they need to feel like they know more. They need to feel like they feel like if the woman is more intelligent or more knowledgeable in any aspect, she will leave them. They don't trust women. They feel like if they're not better than women in any capacity, if they're vulnerable in any capacity, the woman will leave them. But that is not the reality. That's just them being traumatized. And they cannot differentiate between their trauma and their reality. There's another thing that fuels this illusion of them being like thinking, wait, what the hell? No, the light, I'm sorry. So, there's another thing that's a key element of this. For them to feel loved, they need to show their true selves. But they're disconnected from their true selves. Because they're disconnected from their vulnerability, their feelings of vulnerability. They are lying to themselves and try for everyone to tell them that their lies are correct. Because they don't want to accept reality. So they're always trying to convince everyone that they are right. Because they need to live in that lie. They need for people to tell them that they're right. Yeah, deep down, they doubt it. They do. But facing reality would be too painful for them. Because they would have to accept that they're not this secure person, confident person. They're really not. They're these people who are really scared and traumatized. And that makes them feel humiliated. Because they think that their whole value revolves around the Manosphere stereotype. Which is not real. It's a facade in which they try to avoid their insecurities. They feel like if a girl is more educated than them, she will leave. She earns more money, she will leave them. If she is really beautiful, she will leave them. If she knows that she's beautiful, she will leave them. They think that they will be compared all the time with other guys. Because they don't understand what love is. They never felt loved. Ever. Do you know, that's because for them to actually feel loved, they would have to show their true selves, which is how they truly feel. Scared, traumatized, insecure, lost, alone. Not enough. But instead of actually accepting these feelings, they want to convince others that they don't feel like that they are great. Their version of great. They think that it is a lot better if a guy earns a lot of money, if a guy sleeps with a lot of girls, if I got things that most people really don't care about. They do. And they surround themselves with people who think the same way. When Clavicular said that he doesn't like a girl being educated because she thinks differently than him and she interprets things in a weird way, instead of being curious about this interpretation, he didn't like it. He doesn't like people questioning his thoughts because that leads him to connect a little bit more with everything he's afraid of, which is there are girls who are smarter. There are girls who are who think differently. In my way of thinking, does not reflect reality. Because if he realized that, he would also have to realize that he's really insecure, that he cannot really connect with people because he is not comfortable being vulnerable. Do you know why it is so important to be vulnerable? Because when you are, you learn from others. You let yourself be loved. Do you think that I felt loved when I earned a national prize because of my results in my studies? I didn't feel loved. Do you know when I felt loved? When I was on my lowest and people were there for me. When I was deeply insecure and people were there for me. Not because people told me I was pretty. Not because people asked me if I wanted to be a model. Not because people said to me that I'm the smartest person they know. No. I actually felt loved when people showed me that even in my worst times, they were there for me. And I'm gonna be honest. I think they don't like the people many in the Manosphere. They don't. I think many in the Manosphere don't realize that being loved, if you're loved, truly loved, the person who loves you will not compare you to other people. Because comparing someone means you're objectifying them. You don't objectify someone you love. If I met the richest, most beautiful, smartest guy ever, I would still choose my boyfriend. Because I love him. To me, first of all, love makes you look at a person and see them as the most beautiful person on earth. That is part of love. Yeah, when I met him because I was attracted to him. But I have also fallen in love because of the emotional connection. And it's not a girl thing. This also happens to guys. Because we connect with people who make us feel loved and secure. And not only girls, boys too. The thing is, in the Manosphere, they don't really accept this. But they do. They think that the only way to feel loved is by them controlling a woman. Asking them not to leave, not to study, like not to leave the house. Depending on them economically. But you know what actually makes you feel trust for someone that they love you? If they can leave and they still don't. If they don't depend on you economically. If they are actually really smart and maybe even smarter than you. And they still love you. Because they're not thinking about who's smarter. They're just connecting with you. They're just loving you. They're just forming an emotional connection with which these men in the Manosphere are not. They don't know how that works. Because of their psychological issues, they cannot really understand how a deep connection works. And it doesn't revolve around comparing you to that guy, if you're a girl or a boy with that girl. You don't compare yourself to the other person. You're just like, this is so great that I'm meeting you, and yet you're so smart, and you can give me so much intellectual stimuli. It is so interesting. Thank you for that. They don't really... okay, for a guy to actually value that, he has to be comfortable being vulnerable. And if you're vulnerable with a person, you will feel loved. But if you're not comfortable being vulnerable, you won't. Because we feel loved when we are protected in our vulnerable moments, which we all have. That's why these guys try to meet a lot of girls, but they cannot really connect with any girl deeply. Because, not because of the girls, it's because of two things, mainly. One thing is they are usually surrounded by people who think the same way and who have the same types of issues. They don't surround themselves with healthy girls or healthy guys. So if they try to open up or whatever, a girl will feel the same way. She will feel like, oh, this guy is opening up. I'm insecure. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna reject him. But she's rejecting him because she's insecure. Not because he's in the wrong for opening up. But he understands this as rejection. So he thinks that it is wrong to be vulnerable and opening up. But if they go around and meet other people who are not sexist, they would realize that you can actually connect in a healthy way with a girl. Also, this whole not caring about if a woman finishes, of course you do. You're just too afraid of failing. Of course you do. Of course it has a ROI, return of investment, because the amount of fun you have revolves around how much fun the other person is having. Okay, if you're talking about temperature, it is at its highest when both people are really happy. Let's just say I'm gonna be like super as PR as I can be with this topic. Yeah. So of course you care about that, but you have to be vulnerable to show that you care. You have to be open to try things and to fail doing that, and to actually let someone see you fail. And they're so afraid of that because they feel like they will be rejected. So they're like, I don't care. I don't care. Of course they care. And the interesting thing is, because they have such a hard time accepting that they care, they are lying to themselves and trying to convince others of their lie. That's why they're all so obsessed with making podcasts. They're all so obsessed with being famous. Because they want to connect with people in a really superficial way, get validation, and run away. Because they are so scared of actually being close to a person. So, for example, I've met a lot of people who are like that. Most people that have that psychological profile end up feeling rejection themselves when things get emotional and vulnerable. They are not comfortable with it, and they think that them being uncomfortable is because of the other person, or because it's awkward, the whole situation. But it's not awkward, and it's not the other person. It's just them not understanding that this is how you connect with the person really. That's a real person in front of you, and you're a real person too. And they just don't want to accept that they're these vulnerable people, these normal people, just trying to act like they're not. And they will always surround themselves with people who just, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they think, oh, this woman will leave me, whatever. Yeah, of course there are some women who will leave you. There's a lot of people there. A lot of type of people. Like, there's good people, healthy people, and healthy people. A good healthy person, which is most people, at least healthy enough, it's not a black or white concept. It is shades of gray. It has shades. A really healthy person, if you're struggling with something, they will try to help you. They won't feel like uncomfortable and leave. Also, think about this. If you are the person who works and the other person just, cleans or whatever, and you don't have money, it's not like she will leave you because you don't have money. It's because she needs to eat, and you're not letting her work. Actually, both people doing both things gives you a lot more security and a better sense of love, because it is a lot better if a person loves you not because they depend on you, but because they're choosing to stay with you. But these guys in the Manosphere, it's not reality, but they feel that girls will leave them if they are free. If they are not super the most attractive person ever. Yeah, of course. If I'm really attractive, I'm searching for a person who's really attractive. But I've met guys that weren't attractive, and I've really connected with some guys like that. And to me, when I met them and I got to know them, they were so emotionally intelligent, so interested in discovering the world around them, in being more knowledgeable. It was so fun for me to get to know them. Not because I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm more secure or whatever in life with him. No, it's interesting. I don't need security that much because I already have my own. But it was still interesting because life is not just about mating. It's about actually having fun. Why do you think you watch a movie? Why do you think you listen to music? It's because it's interesting, not because it makes you feel more secure in life. I don't know. I hope this helped. And this is aimed for literally anyone who is in the Manosphere or who doesn't know about this, just to spread information, just to spread a logical understanding of why they're trying to avoid their insecurities and lie to themselves and live off this lie. But this isn't healthy for everyone, especially for them. But also, if you're really insecure and you're searching for a way to avoid it, you're gonna hear them and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna try this, and you're gonna be like, oh, it is like a drug, it is like taking any drug because you're sad. It will make you feel worse, but for a little while, it gives you the illusion of being better. That's what these ways of handling insecurity do. Because you're like, I'm gonna sleep with a lot of girls because I feel so insecure and so shady. And then you feel the same way, but just having had sex with a lot of girls. Yeah, it's fun to have that, but it doesn't erase your problems, and it doesn't erase the fact that the happiest mentally you can be is when you're loved and when you love. And for that to happen, it's not about the characteristics and the trait someone has. It's about being vulnerable and being with a person who is actually open to accepting that and protecting you. But these people, like I said, always hang out with people who think the same way, including girls. Or really emotionally, or a lot of girls who are not emotionally intelligent. Because those are the only type of girls who would actually feel comfortable with a person who doesn't want to connect with them. So they will probably, if they end up one day being like, I want to show my feelings, the girl will not know what to do. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They don't understand that they are in this world, like that the world view is extremely biased because of their own characteristics and what they attract. And it's not because of the law of attraction, whatever the fuck. No. It's internal, not external. Is they have a lot of barriers inside of them, which make them not connect with themselves in a healthy way. So they're like, to feel like I have everything in control, I won't let her work. I won't let her be educated. I will not like her to have a high body count. So things like that. And it's just like they're afraid of you. Them being compared. They're afraid of you leaving them. They're afraid, like you as a girl, they're afraid of you being smarter than them and getting bored or leaving them too. They're scared of you leaving them. And instead of understanding that to be able to connect deeply with someone, you don't have to compare yourself to them. Do you think that if a girl really loves you or a boy really loves you or whatever, or someone loves you, they will just leave you when you're sad, when you're just failing at something? No, they will probably encourage you, try to help you be better. But you're so proud of yourself in a negative way that she will never allow that, so you will never feel love nor loved. You always surround yourself with sexist people that will act that way, not because they are rejecting you when you're vulnerable. It's because they don't know what to do. They don't feel enough. So it's like two people who are insecure making the other person's insecurities even bigger. It's not a healthy way of relating to each other. Hope this helps and you work on that and you're better able to connect with people, really connect with people. You're just trying to connect, but you're not connecting with people. And it is fucking obvious for anyone who studies psychology, or for almost anyone. And the thing is, I'm also expressing this because I want to help society.